Hi, everyone. Hello. How are you today? I hope that you are well. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. I'm going to adjust just a tiny bit, let some people get into the room, and then we'll get started. I hope that you had a good day today. Here we go. Sorry, this is. Hi, there we go. Nice to see ya. This is really tricky sometimes to get it in the right place. And it's backwards. So, there. Hi. There we go. I hope that you all are well. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. It's going to be a good session today. We are going to talk about all of the benefits that a veteran is entitled to as they're separating from service. And I hope that what I give you adds value to your life and that after this call, you feel a little less alone during your process. My name is Leslie. I have been working with service disabled veterans since I got out of the military in 2015, and I love my work. I love what I do. I wouldn't pick anything else. I love being here. So, while I was in the military, I did search and rescue. I also, I also did recruiting. I was a recruiter for a while, and I also did logistics. So kind of did a little bit of everything, did the operational stuff. That was awesome. Did some logistics, and that's where I really feel like I fell in love with money. Yeah, I like money. And not in like the sense that I'm money hungry, but I like when people have the money that they're entitled to. I like when they have the money that they deserve. So that's how I got into this field. And I love it. I've been doing this and helping veterans with their benefits since I separated. I got recruited into an organization, and then I just kept going. When COVID hit, I think all of us during COVID, we had to pivot. I think COVID caused a lot of us to pivot and figure out what we wanted. And for me, is I wanted to be home with my kids. That's what it came down to. And I had this opportunity because I was already, excuse me a second, I was already working in the veterans industry. I had this opportunity to answer questions at a pace that was appropriate, grow this company at a pace that was appropriate. And thankfully, off the get go, I had a really great team. So we were able to just start helping vets during COVID. And that was amazing. I remember the first time that a veteran called and they were like, hey, I bought groceries and I paid my rent on time. Thank you. And I remember being like, what was that? That's the feeling that I want for the rest of my life. But the problem was that during that time where I was learning to do all this, or up until 2019, from 2015 to 2019, the learning the how to do this was very hard. I went through the VA process myself. And being a storekeeper that I am, when I got my decision letter back, I did the numbers and they didn't make sense. I looked for agencies to help me. I looked for lawyers, and I couldn't get the support that I needed. So I said, you know what? I'm going to figure this out. I know how to look at an SOP. I understand government talk, and I can do this. Like, I can figure this out. And that's what I set out to do. And so as we figured it out, I realized that I liked helping vets. I liked giving advice, being a safe place for people to land. And that's what really brought out the passion for the VSOP is veterans and their families needed a safe place to land. And I felt like that could be us. So I have some talking points I'm going to go over from start to finish. And I have my little assistant here, my ChatGPT that's helping me. If you haven't started using AI at all, I highly recommend ChatGPT because it's a safe place to like if you're confused, if you're confused, it's a safe place to go. And I think that it is a tool that I want to help veterans learn and understand how it works with your process because it is 2026 and and you need a little bit of guidance. You need a little bit of some people are telling a story that they haven't told for 20 years. And sorry about that. It's not coming up and I had it here ready. Um so some people they're telling a story about their time in service that they haven't told in 20 years, right? And so when you're going through this and if you don't have somebody helping you through the process and you have to unravel, how did I get hurt? How did I end up here? Because once you figure it out where you've landed, then I always say you can pick up the pieces and go to the next place. So that's where the VSOP comes in. And I haven't been teaching that, but I think that as we make 2026 the best year of teaching veterans that America's ever seen, I'd like to do that. And I think that as long as you're not putting personal information in, right, you're being safe about it, it is a good tool to help you through the process. So I'll be going through everything that you need to know about life after the military. So the VA system, it runs on rules. Everything is guided by rules and guidelines set in place. Sometimes those change depending on who's in office and what the administration changes. And that's neither here nor there. That's just the facts. So as we go through this, there's always changes, and keeping up with those changes can be very hard. And so the VSOP, we can teach you how to use the VA healthcare system. We can teach you how to use the VA Department of Administration because there's three components to being a veteran. There's a veteran healthcare system, there's veteran compensation, and then there's leveraging your veteran status. So all of those are points that as you're transitioning, you need to know about. They all matter equally, I think. And I'll start today by talking about for up first is going to be those people who are getting out of the military in 2026. If you have not started preparing, let this be your wake up call to get on board and start getting organized. And I think that the best thing that you can do is if you are not a super organized paperwork person, and this is somebody who is a very organized paperwork person. I like organizing things. That's my jam. My best piece of advice is get yourself a pile of important papers, like one designated place where VA mail comes. You don't want to open it. You can't open it. Like it gives you anxiety because we're going to talk about all of this. Just somewhere where you could set it. That way we can say, hey, you know that letter that you said you got, go pull that back or whatever. You're going to need a place for everything to land. And pick a place at your house where it's just going to be VA stuff. So that's going to be number 1, and that's for everybody, not just people getting out. That's for everybody. Pick a place in your home to put your paperwork. But for people getting out, what they need to know about is there's something called the BDD process, benefits delivery at discharge. And that's a process where you get to file your benefits 180 days prior to separation, no more than 90, and you get your benefits delivered at discharge. The contract is written so that within 30 days of separating, you should have something in hand. And for everyone who follows those guidelines to a T, they've had really great results. So that's going to be number 1. And I hope that wherever you are, that you have a pen and paper and you're taking some notes because everything that I'm going through is everything that you need to know. Like my goal is at the end of it, there's maybe details that need to be learned, but this is everything you're going to need to know. So, After that BDD, benefits delivery discharge, what you need to know is that you have 1 year after you get out of the military to claim and to go to the doctor for any new things that hurt. And those are going to be considered presumptive. And that matters because um, this is a little bit harder. Sorry, guys. This is my time too. I did this yesterday, like rolled off my tongue. Today, it's like, okay, let's bring this back. So the conditions that you're going to go to the doctor for 1 year after, within 1 year after getting out, it's like there's a warranty on your body, right? So anything happens, anything goes wrong, you tell a doctor, you get it clinically diagnosed, and the VA is going to say, okay, great, we're going to consider this presumptive. We're going to pretend like it happened while you were in the military and we're going to grant you rating for it. So within 1 year, you have to go to the doctor for anything that you didn't get treated while you were in. Then also, what the current policy is that you get an intent to file. So as long as you file a claim for your benefits within 1 year of separating, that is going to get retro paid to the day you got out of the military. So that's really important to know. All of this runs on timelines, everything. And it's challenging because this is one timeline in your life, but you have kids and family and loved ones and all these other things. And this is like a loop that never closes. And I think that with the VSOP, the support that we provide, you can rest a little bit easier knowing that somebody else has got your back, knowing that somebody else is tracking these deadlines and you're not the only one. Because let's be honest, this is money that your family's entitled to. This is money that you need for your care. Maybe your injuries are impacting your ability to work. Maybe your injuries are impacting just the way that you live in general. And so all of this matters so that in the end, you have all of the benefits and that you're nah, this is tricky when I say this because not a lot of people say it this way. And I do want to say it this way because I think this is what it is. This is a comprehensive insurance plan with a payout at the end, right? And if you know that and you treat it like the legal process that it is, and you get those results that you deserve, I think that your process is going to be a lot better. So after that first year, just or and if you've already been out longer, that's okay. That just means that you're going to start your intent to file whenever tomorrow, today. Call 1-800-827-1000. Tell me you want to file an intent to file. You can do it online, and that buys you 1 year to get all your paperwork together and get everything to the VA. So that's what you need to know. Benefits delivery discharge, that's for people just getting out of the military. You have 1 year. Anything that you went to the doctor for within 1 year of getting out is considered presumptive. Also, file an intent to file. And if you've just recently got out, you don't have to do that. So, um, once you have that starting pad, that's going to be your launch pad. Once you have that, then you can start planning and trying to figure out what your conditions are, that what conditions you sustained in service or what's the conditions you sustained because of the conditions in service, and you can start mapping that out. There's things that happened to you while you were in that you got documented. There's the things that happened to you within 1 year of getting out. There's the things that happened because of those conditions. And then there's also things that could be happening to you that are now considered presumptive. They could be because of the toxic chemicals that you were around, or it could be because of something else. So each time of war has something called a list of presumptives. And those conditions are conditions that you didn't have to have while you were in the military. You just have to have them clinically diagnosed after you get out. And those conditions can then be brought up to the Department of Veterans Affairs and get service connected for them as long as you have the right documents. So as you're putting all of that together, and remember, you're going to write your stories out. We're going to go through all of this. But Every time that you get like your intent to file, put in your pile of important papers. You're always going to have all your documents go to home base. Because if you're missing anything during the process, you're going to know where to go. So now you have kind of this idea of what kind of conditions you're looking for after you get out of the military. Then, once you have that, it's time to start going to the doctor. I know. We don't like to go to medical. It's gonna be okay. I promise. Um, Going to medical, VA healthcare, um, there's multiple some people go and they get turned away and the VA says, "Well, you make too much money." Thank you. And they get turned away. But if you're a service-connected veteran, you're eligible for VA healthcare. So there's multiple tiers. I tell everybody, go enroll, go find out what they tell you. They could give you a bracket of where if like you have copays, if you're allowed to whatever your entitlement is based on your income, where you served. Somebody good information to know is somebody who served, I'm pretty sure it's 5 years in Gulf War, Operation Iraqi Freedom. You get 5 years of free VA healthcare, regardless of your income, I believe. But I will double check on that. But just that's something good to know as you're enrolling. Don't make sure that you know, like, don't take no for an answer ever. I am your friend. My name is Leslie, and I'm your friend. And I am telling you, do not take no for an answer ever. That's kind of like what we have to get ready for is that's the fight. That's the work that we're doing is pushing back against those no's. So enroll into VA healthcare. Now, when you enroll into VA healthcare, it's for multiple reasons. One, you're going to get your health on track, but two, you're going to get all of these conditions updated and documented because the VA is going to look for that. Is this condition, did it happen in the military? Is it chronic, meaning has it been longer than 6 months that you've had it? And is it current? Okay, that's what they're looking for. And when you're thinking of all of these conditions, yes, you're going to start going to the doctor to get all of these updated because you can't get compensated for a condition that's not compensatable. Like if you say your knee hurts, but there's no medical documents, the VA could give you a zero because, well, you had it documented in service, but there's no proof that you have it now. So you're going to start setting up all of your treatment plans. Now, your treatment, the type of treatment that you're going to go to, if you go to va.gov, to the VA Locator app. You can type in locator in the search bar. And what it'll do, it's going to bring you an app within the VA website. And there you will be able to put in your zip code and it'll bring up your healthcare near you. And you have a choice. Each one of those that comes up, it has its own landing page. So if you scroll through, it's going to tell you what offerings are at that facility. And sometimes it's worth you have to go to the big ones typically for enrollment, get your VA health card, all of that stuff. And this is going to all be done online too. But again, this is what the VSOP is here. I'm not expecting you to learn everything today. I'm just trying to give you the path. Pick the clinic that's closest to you. Go to the landing page. You're going to see enrollment. You're going to see how to get a hold of your doctors. You're going to see what the offerings are there. If there are not a lot of offerings, go to the next one because that's going to probably be the major hub typically. And they have more specialty care there. They have people to help, all of that. So that's what you're looking at on the VA locator. There, once you enroll, you'll be able to get a primary care doctor, and your primary care doctor is going to set you up with the referrals that you need, um, x-rays, whatever it is that you need. That's where you're going to set that up. Okay. So, but here's the thing. When you're going to the VA locator app and they have the list of what the offerings are, pay attention. So they have like eyeglasses, don't need a referral. Mental health doesn't need a referral. There are some things like GI appointments that you have to get a referral from your doctor, but the other stuff you could just go. It's all covered in your insurance. And that's learning how to use your healthcare is just as equally as important as understanding your benefits. Yeah, I like how that sounded. Oh, I'm talking to myself here. I hope that you guys are at home and this is a value. So, understanding how to navigate your healthcare is as equally important as understanding what your benefits are. Period blank. Like you have to know both because if not, what's going to happen is let's say that you get sick and then you have to have a caregiver that gets involved. You're leaving the burden on them to figure this out. And I think that it's our responsibility as vets to first take care of ourselves. Like I live by the no one's coming to save you. They're just not. But we can help each other and we can prepare in case something happens and we know how to take care of ourselves. And that's where the VSOP I think is strong because we are a community. We do take care of ourselves. And just learning how to navigate your healthcare, that's going to be really important. So, as you're going through, you have your pile of important paperwork, and we're going to be staying. I hope that you stick around. I hope that you join the veteran ecosystem on Facebook. It's a group. If you follow us here on YouTube, wherever, I hope that you can feel free to comment or ask questions and we can add value to you because this is a hard process. But if you stick around long enough, a lot of these, we're going to have tools and stuff. We're a toolbox for veterans. That's where it's being developed. And things that help you through this process. Maybe like a worksheet on writing down your intent to file date so that you don't forget. You can put it on your refrigerator, right? That's the date. Um, if you're using the VSOP, when to call the VSOP, things like that, feel free to ask questions again because asking for help, it doesn't feel great. And I did a live, maybe I think I talked about it in the last one, but I think that as vets, and if I covered this twice, apologize, but it can be hard to ask for help. It can be hard to say I'm broken. It can be hard to go to medical because this is counterintuitive to who we were in service. You don't go to medical, you don't say these things, you suck it up, you keep going. You're a soldier, right? You're gonna white knuckle your way through this. Don't do that. We're here to help. This is where you can start laying some of this down so that you can come home both physically and mentally. So, um, you're going to figure out your VA healthcare system, set up your doctors, write it out. Who's your primary care? And you can use the app for this as well. It gets you can organize it in your app. Who are your doctors? Who is your psychologist? Who's your psychiatrist? Who's your GI appointment or your GI with? All of that stuff. Because again, if a caregiver ever needs to come in, that you have your baseline written out. And then somebody can step in and help take care of you. Because that's what we're working here for. These VA plans, it's a legal process. VSOs, veteran service officers. I'm very much for the sanctity of the veteran service officer in America because they're part of our history. And I want to see them win. I want to see them continue. So they're typically in charge of writing out and helping a veteran write this process out or write their all what they're going to apply for to get their entitlements on their policy, right? So, but these these benefits that you get through the VA, you're going to carry them with you for the rest of your life. Like they're going to impact your senior care. They're going to impact your kids' education benefits. There's a program called Chapter, it's like 36, I believe. If man, I was in the Coast Guard, we had to take these tests. I would have failed in that question. But it's like chapter 30 something. And don't forget to change your socks. Yes, exactly. Um, all of this, take some ibuprofen and get back to work. Yes, that's the mentality. We don't go to medical. But all of this to say you need all of this because nobody's going to show up and do that stuff for you. Nobody's going to remind you to change your socks. Nobody's going to remind you to take your ibuprofen. Chapter 33, somebody said, okay, we're going to get that. Maybe somebody can put what is the right chapter. But, anyways, this benefit, it's awesome because once you get 100% permanent total, your kids or your spouse, they can get an additional $1,500 a month while they're going to school. Like, don't you want that? Don't you want your benefits and the other special monthly compensations you're entitled to? Right? That's who I am. Like, go get your money. You're entitled to a clothing allowance. You don't have that. That's $950 paid out in October right before Christmas. Go get your money. Um, I'm passionate about that. Like, I like helping people buy groceries. That is who I am. So go do that. So that's it. You're going to figure out what your conditions are. You're going to set up your VA healthcare. You're going to write down what your BDD is, get everything organized, get your intent to file, um, and then start going to the doctor. You're going to get your documents organized. That's what you need to focus on that year. And then I would say chapter 36. Oh, I was right. Thank you. Um, Once you get, I would say like 2 months. If you're running this deadline, right? And you're like, "Okay, what am I looking at here, Leslie?" Spend the first 10 months going to the doctor. Spend the last 2 months getting your paperwork organized. And don't forget your deadlines and just get all that. There's a form called VA 214138. Go fill that out and write your story. Everything that happened to you. Who cares if it's a lot of information? And get spend 2 months preparing your package. When I was a Coast Guard recruiter, we would put in officer packages for officer candidate school, and we'd spend months on these packages to find out if one of our candidates could go to OCS. And it was so much work. I mean, like, these suckers were huge. But then when they got picked up, it wasn't by accident, because we did the work, right? So once you get your benefits, it's not by accident, it's because you did the work. You got organized. You had your pile of important papers. You figured out how to go to the doctor and a few things. So, um, you're once you're getting all of this ready, and all of this impacts not just you, impacts your family. All of these benefits are for more than just you, okay? So if you spend the time and you get ready, you put in your package and you do it right, you get everything down, it's going to make it a lot easier. And you get your facts down and you get your 21, 41, 38s and you put all this in. Once that day comes that you get your decision letter, you're going to be so proud of yourself because I don't know who else is lining up to give you $150 a month, $2,000 a month, $4,000 a month. But if you were in the military, the VA is. That money's there for you. It's not like you're taking it from somebody else that's waiting for you. And if you can get this process, if you can get organized and you can make it to the end, you're going to be so proud of yourself. And I'm going to be proud of you too. And the whole VSOP team is going to be proud of you. We're all going to say, hooray! That's here for you. I hope that you believe in yourself enough to give yourself that chance. Where you're going to fall through the cracks is if you wait too long. Is if you go listen. Okay, so here's the truth, guys, okay? You earned this. You deserve this. You deserve to do it the right way. Shorten your time span. There are some vets that fight for 20 years. I've never seen a vet fight for longer than 3.5. Longest I've ever seen somebody fight and get their benefits, okay? So, if you don't know your dates, if you take random advice from your friends, oh my gosh. I have walked through people help people and they're like, "Yeah, the VSOP is helping me, but my doctor at the VA said XYZ, or my friend said XYZ. So I pivoted." Okay, you pivoted. You might mess it all up. Like, there's a way to do it. But if you pivot every time that somebody gives you advice, don't expect excellent results because you're not staying on the course of the one person that you decided to follow the instructions from. Whether that person is yourself or the VSOP or whatever, if you are choosing to do this with yourself, by yourself, with the VSO, with the VSOP, however you decide to do this, stay the course. Run everything. If you're doing it yourself, run everything through that SFR 38 SFR. If you're doing it with a VSO, run everything through your VSO. If you're running it through the VSOP, ask the VSOP at every move. Because if not, you're going to lose benefits, lose money, lose time, and out of all of those, the biggest one is don't mess with my time. That is my biggest angst in life, like, do not mess with my time. Don't assume that the system's gonna do anything for you. Like, you have to follow up, you have to make the calls, you have to do all of the things and keep showing up over and over, okay? So, that's VA benefits and healthcare. And here's the big thing, and I keep saying it over and over, so I'm talking to myself here. Um, yeah, don't hesitate to ask questions, do that, because this process is really hard. But here's the truth. You can only make money, your life can only be enhanced, get better at the rate that your nervous system is willing to accept it, period, okay? So that means if you get anxiety and you avoid looking at the letters, if you get anxiety and you just pretend that it's gonna take care of itself, because you will get anxiety. Guaranteed, like, that's that comes with the territory. And it's hard because you're transitioning from the military and you have to learn this whole other system and you have to learn it, or you have to have somebody to teach it to you. And that's what the VSOP does really well. Um, but you can only do it as fast as your nervous system will allow. So stay calm, ask questions, trust somebody else, ask for help. Because if not, you can mess this up and cost yourself more time, more money, more headaches, and you might wanna quit. And you're gonna wanna quit anyways. Like, I don't know a veteran who's ever gone through this process who didn't say, "I wanted to quit at least a few times," right? And at the end, you get really obsessive at checking your decision letters over and over and over. Multiple times a day, been there, done that. But here's the thing, you deserve to be happy. Happiness was something that, for me, when I got out of the military, it was really hard to feel. Like, I remember the first few times I had to already been 2019 because I can tell you where I was living. I got out in 2015, and I remember in 2019 starting to feel what felt like joy. What felt like, you know how you I don't know if you've ever felt like, there's a bear chasing you, waiting for the other shoe to fall, waiting for the next bad thing to happen, like, feels like life is never gonna cut you a break. Everything just feels really hard. Well, sometimes that stops. And little by little, you start feeling joy. And that feeling of like doom for me started going away a little by little. When at the height of my PTSD, I would get really, I would get triggered fast, either with anger or overwhelmed. And my brain would very quickly go to like, is this the last day on earth? Because this is a lot. And I didn't know at that time that that was considered then suicidal ideations, but I know now, I know that that's something that I have to watch in my own brain. And as I started taking control of my life, starting with my VA process, the joy started coming back into my life because I was getting healing, I was getting help, I was getting the right medication, I was getting the right everything, things for my body because of the body aches, like all of the things. I started taking care of my brain a little bit better. Um, all of this started happening and we started feeling joy. And it almost feels like something is wrong. It really does. You're like, "Wait a minute. This feels too good to be true. Like somebody's pranking me," right? But it's not. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to come home mentally. You deserve to come home physically. You deserve to have a community of friends and family and be engaged. If you are feeling anxiety, which is fear for the future, or depression, which is angst for the past, and you're not living in like today, those are all signs that this getting your VA stuff on track is for you. So that's what I'm going to say. You're worth investing your own time into. You're worth investing to get a teacher to help you through this process. And again, whether it's me or us or VSO, because this is not the Leslie show. There's a lot of people helping me put on all of this together. And the VSOP is the best and safest place for a veteran to land and their families. You're safe there. But I hope that you believe that you're worthy of it, at least trying, because you can only get help as fast as your nervous system will allow you. And we see that a lot where people come in and they're just kind of angry and they're struggling and they get mad and then they go away instead of asking for help. And that's always painful. So, whoever you are, whatever part of the system that you're in or your process you're going through, I hope that you believe in yourself enough to ask for help. Don't hesitate to ask questions because there's people here willing to help you. That's how the VSOP started. I started this mission of like answering questions for people because of what I had learned from the organization I was recruited to after the military. So I knew a lot. And then people are like, what you're doing is pretty cool. Can I get involved? And I said, yeah, come on, there's a seat. And we did it again. And now we have a whole table. Like there's a seat for you at our table. Come on. Get your benefits in order. Go to the doctor, all of those things. And you do have to be present. I have kids and they're grown and it happened so fast. You don't get to redo today. And tomorrow, I hope it comes for all of us. But if it doesn't, all you can do is take care of your happiness. So, enough of that. Let's move forward. Okay, so you're going to go to the doctor, you're going to get all your medical stuff, you're going to figure out what you're entitled to so that you get your money right. All right, because once you get your money right, and I'm big on budgeting time and money, it makes me happy. And once you can get your money right, you get your time right, you get all that under control, life just gets better. And I don't want you to feel like you've waited too long or it's too late. It's never too late. Once you've done all of that, you've got your health care, you've got your benefits, you know what you're entitled to. One of my big favorite programs at the VA is called Whole Health. It's not talked about a lot. They changed my life. And you don't know what to ask for if you don't know what's available. And I think that our mission in 2026 is sharing what is available for vets because we deserve to know. And so once you get all of that in order, life gets a little bit easier. Okay. I promise. And you can then start figuring out what you want to do with the rest of your life. And you can figure out because it gives you a little bit of cushion, especially if you get 100%. Oh my gosh, it's like 4,000+ a month, like really either really close to 4,000 or depending on your dependents. But then it kind of gives you like, oh, what do I want to do? And there are so many opportunities for once you have your service disabled veteran status in the United States of America. We have been set up very well in the government contracting industry. So if you've ever been on sam.gov or FedBizOps and you see like contracts for construction, contracts for there's everything, food, because each one of these military bases, it's like its own little city, right? And so think of Neiman Marcus, and they have buyers that buy the clothes and things for Neiman Marcus so that the people who support that store have things that fit their needs. Well, the military has the same thing. They buy coffee, they buy food, they buy everything. And so they have to, by law, give a certain percent of that of those contracts to service disabled veterans. So it's a win-win. And I've met people who sell everything from dirt to that's a product to catering, which is a service. Right? Different contracts come up for different things. If you've never looked at that, go look at FedBizOps. Go see what they're paying for. Maybe you have a service or a product that you can apply for. And there's a whole network for that. I can teach that too. That's what I learned about. That's what I want to share. Because then you work for yourself. And for me, working for myself was freedom, especially with my service connected disabilities. It made it really hard. You can't sit for too long. You can't stand for too long. You need days off. You have to go to medical. You have to get your VA benefits. Like it's just a lot. So working for myself helped with all of that. And you're not limited on the income you make, right? You can go chase a second contract or whatever. And I want to get in, that's, I could talk about that for days. That's another really great opportunity that we as veterans in America have. And I know, for example, like New York, they have 6% set aside. California has 3. Every state is a little bit different. Um, excuse me. But there's opportunities. And then also, America loves veterans. Like, let's not forget that. Let's not forget that not everybody signed the line. Okay? Not everybody said, "Sure, I'm willing to die for this country. Pick me." But you did. And maybe you got a desk job, and that's cool. Desk jobs are awesome. Maybe you were operational, and that's cool. Wherever it was, you served. Not everybody did that, but you did. So don't ever feel bad. Okay? Let's go get our money. um, so that's one way. But America loves veterans. So there's a lot of places that want to offer you really great jobs. You just need to know how to look for them. And so that's something that we want to help and understand. We have people call us all the time, pipe fitters union. Hey, we'll take any vet. Who do you have? Right? Good paying jobs, construction, cleanup, just I mean, you name it. You just have to know the right network. And thankfully at the VSOP, that's what we're cultivating this next 2026 for you. Literally for you. And if you have somebody else that's building you a community so that your life gets better, awesome. I hope you go plug in. But if not, welcome. I'm glad you're here, right? You belong here. Not everybody gets to wear that title. And the people who support the VSOP, the behind the scenes people, they're other veterans, they're other families, friends. I mean, they're people who also love you. Like it's a win win. Everybody's ready to love you as long as you let yourself be loved. So, you figure out what you want to do after you get your benefits. Okay, government contracting, federal jobs, whatever it is. Go read about the labor laws. Like we it's kind of I don't think it's taboo. And not everybody has this mentality, but we all have a narrative in our brain about money, right? Maybe you didn't grow up with a lot of it, maybe you did. Maybe you grew up and it was scarce. Maybe you grew up and it was used as a tool for like I don't know, emotional soothing and you didn't get time with your parents, but they bought you everything you wanted. I've seen that, right? Um, and maybe you have thoughts about money. You have to figure out what those thoughts are, what the truth you want to believe in, and then go figure out how you want to live your life and how much money you need to do it. Because I think for me, I bought into that I had to do this broke somewhere along the right line. And then I had to be like, no, there's so much money out here and I can go get it just the same as the next person who's willing to go hustle, right? We're vets. Come on. We've done hard things. We know how to do hard things. Let's go get it. And that's what I'm excited about in these next few weeks, this next year, as we unravel all of these things. I want this information to not feel so gate kept. I want it to not feel esoteric. This information belongs to you. It's just never been delivered. So you have to learn these systems. We have to protect these systems because these systems are our future. They're our kids' future. They're the future of America. And I do think, and you're like, oh, this could sound cliche, but no, let me be the one to tell you that the legacy of protecting America is sacred. And I've met vets who their lineage goes all the way back to the beginning. They can like literally it's been pretty cool. I've seen binders with like DD 214s going all the way back or some kind of documentation. And there's some people who are like there's nobody and I picked myself and I went. And maybe you were driven to join the military for the money, me. Or maybe you wanted to find a cause, also me. Both things can be true. Whatever prompted you to join, That still lives inside you, and that's still looking to do something great with your life. Whether I don't know, I have no idea what that is. You do, though. You might know, you might be lying to yourself and not saying you don't know, but it's just because you don't let yourself think about it because you don't want it to be real or whatever. But I think that you know that you're meant for greatness, and you're meant to go get these benefits, you're meant to go to the doctor, you're meant to set up all of these things, the right job, your whatever. Let's go do that. Let's do it together in this next year. Um, what we're going to be doing is in the VSOP, in the veterans ecosystem, we're going to be posting a lot of different content to help vets throughout the year. We're going to be teaching and training this. We're going to be doing these lives over and over. So maybe you have questions. They're like, oh, I would love for these questions to be answered. Post them either here or in the group, whatever you feel comfortable with. Again, we can only help you as fast as you will let us, as fast as your nervous system will allow. I've had people who are like, I am in the parking lot of the VA and I can't go in. And we're like, okay, that's fine. We'll just sit with you. Let's talk it out. Maybe we get them there as long as they're there within a few minutes of their appointment, they're fine. Everybody's starting at a different level. Everybody's starting with a different level of understanding and a different capacity, and we're just here to help you. Everybody, the mediators on this chat, the team at the VSOP, the people creating the content, we all want you to win. And so I hope you continue to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. And if there's any questions that we can answer, let us know. I'm going to hang out for the next 15, 20 minutes. If not, we'll go ahead and I'll stay. But I went through everything. Took me a little bit less time than it did yesterday. And that's okay. We're new at this. It'll get better. I'll make sure, whatever. But this is the command level information that you need to move forward. Everything that we say has been vetted multiple times. We've looked, is this the correct information? Is this right? Because we know that your time is precious. We know that your life is precious. And if your benefits aren't done correctly, it impacts your life because later down the road, you're not going to have your entitlements. There's a lot of people who have traumatic brain injury that later down the road will be entitled to a special monthly compensation for TBI. But if that designator is not on your letter, you're not going to be entitled to it. And that's hard to see. I see that a lot. What if you need a hospital bed when you're 90? Who's going to help you with that? Is your family equipped to help you with that? What if you die? How does your family know that they're going to get survivor's benefits if you do this correctly? What does that look like for you? You have to figure that out. And I don't think it's a game, but we've all agreed to this. You just have to figure out what role you want to play within your own veteran story. And is it the story of a hero or is it someone that gets defeated? I bet you it's a story of a hero. Okay? Like I would be willing to guess that. But this stuff is really hard to talk about. And this is light and we can laugh and we can say, hey, this is all you have to do. But it's not easy. You're going to have to face things that maybe you don't want to have to face. You have to remember how you got hurt and why it got so bad. You have to tell somebody, hey, my back hurts so bad that I can't sit in the car for very long. Or my head hurts every time I get happy. I don't know what your story is, but I bet you have one. And at the VSOP, the crew is so nice. They like being nice to people. We like being nice to people, and we want you to be nice to us too. And we want to help you pull that story out. Tell us what happened, and we can reflect it back to you so that you can accurately articulate your benefits and advocate for yourself. So, we've got 10 minutes left. If there's any questions, I can answer those. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. We are going to have an open enrollment to a class. So if you like what you're hearing here, um, we're going to launch what is called the masterclass. It is a transition masterclass. It is an executive level class for everything that you need to know to get this done and get this done right. It's a 4-week class. It's going to be high impact. We're going to go slow, but we're going to be effective. And at the end of it, you're going to have a workbook, a playbook. And that playbook is going to be everything that you need to know during this process so you don't get lost. And what I think is the beauty of this class that we're going to be teaching, and if you stay in the veterans ecosystem, they're going to announce when registration opens. They're going to announce when you can enroll, all of the good stuff, how you can invite friends. Like maybe the class isn't for you, but you want to invite friends to this class and so they can hear, because we're going to be doing this over and over. All that information is going to be in the group, in the Facebook group, or on all of the major social media profile or apps. So the class is going to be everything that you need to know. And the reason it's everything is because we want you to get the benefits that you deserve. But we also want you to be equipped for helping someone else, because maybe you have a friend that is so far away from getting their benefits, they're never even going to come to this room. But maybe you tell them a little bit and you teach them what you've been learning. Maybe little by little, they open up and they allow themselves to get their benefits and their family's future changes. That's the power that we know that this class holds, is the power of paying it forward. Because as vets, we love each other. We're willing to die together. Let's live together. I know that's cheesy. It's okay. But for real, like we love each other a lot. I don't know if you served with somebody that you're still connected with. There's bonds for life made in service. And I know that if I can teach you and you know somebody, you're going to help them because that's who you are, right? You're a soldier, you're a veteran, you're a sailor. That's who you are. It's part of your DNA, regardless of what narrative you're telling. This is part of who you are. You are a good person willing to serve others. And if you learn this stuff for you, later you might be able to impact a friend, somebody in your community. You can change a life. And it's cool to be in the business of changing lives. It's cool to be in the business of helping people, I think, right? Or I wouldn't be here. But I like helping people. I like being nice. I like being kind. I like to not be angry. I like to not yell at my kids. That's all things that I I want to help you figure out who you want to be and then do that, right? I don't like being mean because I don't like to apologize. So if I'm not mean, then I don't usually have to apologize. Figure out who you want to be. And let's do that. Get your VA benefits in order. Get your business or your money or a job, whatever it is you want to do next, get that in order. Lower your pain levels, lower your nervous system so you can be real zen. And this class is going to be fun, but it's also going to be hard. We're going to expect you to show up ready. We're going to expect you, even if the class is going to be live, you're going to be able to watch it on the replay. And it is, I didn't know if I said the price is going to be $1,200, but if that number shocks you, it's okay. Take a deep breath. We're gonna be fine. There's more options coming out. So just stick around to the VSOP and you'll see that on our website and different things. The announcements will be here. It's okay. So the class, we're taking it seriously. So I want you to take it seriously, because if not, you're wasting your time and you're wasting ours. And somebody else could have had that seat. Simple as that, right? So I know that you're a person of integrity. I know that you are strong and you're a warrior and you can do all of these things. And I'm not just saying that, as the Marines like to say, to blow smoke. I don't do that. I'm telling you because it's the truth, because maybe you haven't heard that lately and you need somebody to remind you, like, you're worthy. Come on, get your money. I don't care what you do with it. Donate it, whatever makes you feel good, spend it. Buy something you need, pay off your bills. I don't care, but get it because you earned it. You deserve it. You're worthy of it. All right, guys. I feel like I'm just spinning. I can talk for a while. So I'm gonna say if you have questions, I'm gonna focus on here. I think thank you all for the comments. This is awesome. Thank you for being here. Like, this is training ground. And I know that we're going to be running this live for a few more weeks. And it's going to be awesome. I can't wait till what it's like on our final day, what that count is. I think today we got up to 10, which is awesome, more than we did yesterday. It's going to get better and better and better. And we're going to get better and better and better. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Um, yeah, 5 minutes. What am I going to tell you for 5 minutes? Let's just talk about the VSOP because they're awesome. And I like to talk about them a lot. So, inside the VSOP, there's a whole team that runs a system. The VSOP is an engine. Think of it as an engine, it's a system. And you can plug a veteran into it, and it analyzes who they are, what their time in service was. And this is all stuff we're going to go through in the course too. So, whichever path you decide to take, there's a path for you. And we figure out all of the things, and then we reflect that back to you. And we say, okay, here's what you said. Here's what you said hurts. Here's who you said you are. Here's what you said you need. Here's how to do it. Here's the forms that you need to fill out. Here's the doctors you need to go to. Here's where you put all that stuff after you have it. And then, so you get like a game plan, which is what we're going to design that 4-week class. So you get that. And then you follow through. And then every time that you have a question or you get lost in the process, all you have to do is pick up your phone and be like, hey, VSOP, help. And they will. And there's phone and there's text message and there's email. And it's an amazing system that moves really fast. And it's awesome. And before, I have so much gratitude for the veterans that helped us put it up. And I'm very passionate about it because of that, because this is not a one-person journey. This is an 800-person journey. This system only exists because there's 800 veterans who came before you. And if you don't take it seriously, like, you're disrespecting them. So take it seriously. 800 veterans did this work and figured it out with us and came back and gave us information and said, that didn't work. Let's try something else. Like, we perfected this with 800 vets. So you're going to go through the system. They're going to tell you what to do. You're going to have somewhere to call. Same with the course. It's going to be live. You're going to have access to email questions. It's going to be awesome. This 2026, let 2026 be the last year where you're like, ugh, I was going to do that. Let's get it done. It's totally doable. And I got 2 minutes left. No, we're not connected to the DAV. That's a great question. So the DAV, Disabled American Veterans, I think that's what that stands for, is an organization that facilitates veteran service officers. Totally for them, right? So they have different programs within theirs. They have lawyers to help. They have different things. But you have to also learn how to use your VSO. So we have a lot of vets that have VSOs. We're like, oh, do this. Most vets are like, I don't want to use my VSO. I can do it by myself, whatever that case is. But they are separate. I would love to work with the DAV. You can have them give me a call, and I can help them get organized. Just kidding, maybe. But no, seriously, that's what people don't know. That's a VSO. That's a veteran service officer in America. And if you remember at the beginning of the call, I said I was passionate about that. They were established in the early 1900s to help veterans coming home from war get their VA disability. That's what a veteran service officer is supposed to do. And if you think of this as a legal process, they're like a paralegal in the process, a VSO. So once you sign to them, they have your information. They get paid for you to be in their organization, right? So, like, that's something else, and I won't go down that hole. But if you're getting paid to help me, right? If you're going to help pay the VSO or you're gonna pay the VSOP and you're like, I want to do it by myself or I want to do it with VSO, I want this experience, we're gonna curate that for you. We're gonna help you get that experience so that it's as easy for you as possible. If you're like, I want to get my spouse involved, I want my grandson to help me, whatever that looks like, we're here to help you. So thank you, everyone. I want to be very mindful of your time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope that we continue to see you in the veteran ecosystem and we see you around the socials and the World Wide Web, or you can visit our website. Thanks for being here. I hope you have a good night. Bye.